Plod's Orchid Railway, 23rd of September 2023. It's a Saturday. I'm very tired and footsore and arms and legs are aching because I've just spent 9 hours in the garden, up and down, running around like a headless chook as planting in some new plants that Marianne brought home last night. And here we are walking down the steps, down from the carport towards Potter's Junction, and some of these plants have been fussed over from last year, and some are recent additions added since I've got back from my stint at the Festiniog and Welsh Highland Railway. I spent a lovely 3-4 weeks at Boston Lodge and a few trips on the Garrett. Now, this is the loop, Marianne's pottery bridge that she made. And that's where the mosquito coil goes in, because if you live here you understand why we have mosquito coils burning in the evenings when we have run sessions. So here we are looking at the loop. There are some fresh plants in there. There's some gypsy, there's some pratia, Marianne's bonsai tree which sits in a pot here, and things are coming along nicely. The weather's been pretty good. I've given it a lot of attention with the each morning and evening watering from our rainwater supply. We have some tanks at either end of the house so that we can gravity feed down to the railway. And this is some of the recent plantings here and some old ones. And dichondria is getting going. Along the top wall we have fresh plants, and cousinette is growing well. We go around towards the other end, towards Orchid House Loop. This here is Marianne's pottery shed. That's why it's called Potter's Junction. Cactus garden. There's some really cute cactuses here. I have some nice little fellas here that are very funky, and lovely flower on this one, which is starting to close up now. There is some fresh corals growing here. They died back, but new ones are starting up. Here we are looking at from the loop. Now there's a lot of detritus laying around because the sugarcane mulch and there's dirt here and all that, but I hose the track off to clean it all before run sessions. But we're not doing that for another couple of weeks. We've got the big gig on in a few weeks' time. There's the Red Bridge Gorge. We come around the Red Bridge Gorge. Things are growing nicely here. The pond is empty because we don't want to breed mosquito larvae, and some of Marianne's fish are doing fine without water. Then we go over here. This tree is in lovely flower at the moment. It is spread lovely. It spreads itself out very nicely, and we're very impressed with that one. One of Marianne's good finds. We come down to the little photographic section here through the cuttings. More plantings up here, some recent trees, and some... we lost a tree up here too. This little fella here is starting to get going. I forget what it's called, but it's a lovely little thing. It's very fragile. So you don't bump it, it just crumbles, but it grows lovely. There's some back ears which always look cool in the garden railway. Come round here. There's the more plantings. Now this is all a work in progress. Yeah, I've got to sort this mess out. I'm going to build a wall there. I'm going to build a wall out of some slaty looking stuff, which I'll show you later, which I collect from my trip when I go up to Gympie to crew on the Rattler trains. This is where the lever frame is. It's fully interlocked, but I'm going to remove the interlocking because it's too much trouble when you've got a glass of wine in your belly. Here we are going into the loop itself. Lots of trees growing there. More plantings. Some fresh pratia put in here. And pratia gets a lovely little white flower going, which we like. More new plantings here and old existing ones. I've been coaxing them along with lots of good nutrition, new plant nutrition, worm juice, sea sole, some other concoctions, but good old worm juice is great. Now this is the bridge on the extension. Now this will be replaced by a QR style trestle bridge. Replace this ugly looking yuck. And it swings around here around the dry gorge. That's the stepping stones when one can walk up these stepping stones to go through to this part of the railway. That's my pickling tank for bicycle frame building. It's about 40 years old. It'll see my earthly days out. And we look down here overall, down into the cabbage tree loop and the hanging flower baskets, which Marianne planted out. And that's the extension it built last year, and that will eventually continue around the back of the potter's shed and join up at Potter's Loop, and that way we could run about, we've worked it out, about 5 trains following each other with good distance between each on a running night, all going clockwise. So there we are at this end, and I've just finished 8-9 hours of gardening, planting, transplanting, harvesting from existing areas. There's some scrappy trees here. Now they look scrappy, but they won't eventually. They will grow nicely. Now Marianne's chopped these back and they are growing and starting to flower. I said one of them's a bit slow, but it's coming good. Coming good. More plants along here. New plants, new plants, new plants, new plants. Some of them were put in a few weeks ago. Some are new. Doing some little corner ground covers with orange peel thyme, which I harvest from a plant out in the front yard, which must have good genetics because it doesn't get looked after. And it's, there we go, that's orange peel thyme and some sort of fuzzy grasses, which we like. They're growing, spreading nicely. So the idea is to spread all the ground covers so it looks natural, but it's a garden with a railway in it. And we have nice little trains going around with slow-mo equipped at nice sedate speeds, whistles blowing every now and then in the evenings while we've got a glass of wine and friends and smelly cheeses. And here we have one of Marianne's pottery buildings, which, believe it or not, has a tree growing in it. And eventually, hopefully, will explode out through the top of the tree and look quite sort of neat and spectacular. Bit messy at the front, but I've just transplanted some pratia, so that should all spread along there nicely. And there we are to the end of the line of the Cabbage Tree Creek station yard. Why it's called Cabbage Tree Creek? Because in the backyard down there, not flowing right at this moment, is Cabbage Tree Creek, which flows out to Shorncliffe. So more baskets over here, and hanging under the awning is more baskets. So there we go. So we'll walk back. This is the stainless steel bench. Keep some stuff underneath there, but that's where we put some of us put our smelly cheeses and wine in the evening, but locos and rolling stock and so on. Marianne's pottery shed. Marianne's doing a painting course at the moment, so she's not home. And there, now look, this is where I wanted to show the pratia. It gets a lovely little pretty white flower. It's just getting going now, but you get a nice sea of white flowers, and I reckon that looks very cool. It's all a work in progress. Eventually, yes, there will be buildings, there'll be signals at this end. I do have signals at Orchid House Loop, but we only bring them out for special running days. They're all connected with LEDs, semaphores, everything works. But not at this end yet, but we'll get there. Hopefully before I die. That's about it. Potter's Orchid Railway, after a day of a full day in the garden. And I think it might be time to go get a bottle of organic Merlot. Yeah. Oh, there's some strange little monsters hiding around. Strange little monsters hiding around here. You never know what you might find around here. Hiding in the undergrowth. Oh. There's one that lives out in the cactuses. See that one? That's a little, got nasty little teeth, that one. Well, there you go. That's just a bit of a rough update of what's going on at the Potter's Orchid Railway. There. Happy New Year. That's what we're waiting for. Cheers. Oh.